Thank you guys for coming today. I'm Lisa Melendy. I'm the Director of Athletics. We're really excited to welcome you and your families here today. It's a big day. If this is your first in particular, I've now dropped off 2, so I'm a little over that, 1 left to go. So I've been in your seat dropping kids off, and I know depending on where you are in the birth order, it has some different feelings surrounding that. But again, we just wanted to welcome you today and let you know a little bit about what you might expect for your students and things that information we want to share with parents about potential varsity or junior varsity athletes that are part of our intercollegiate athletic program. Just sort of a brief overview here. We have 32 varsity teams. We have about 750 athletes involved. There are also club sports that are run as student organizations out of the campus life office. Intramural program that's sort of in a rig building phase. We had a lot last year. We have some more going on this year with soccer, basketball, golf, some tennis, some other opportunities, and physical education classes. All students at Williams College are required to take physical education as part of a graduation requirement. Some of that can be met through varsity and junior varsity athletic participation and club as well, which your students will hear more about. But just to alert you to that as another part of the curriculum, and a lot of our athletes like to take different courses or be involved with sports that they either enjoyed previously and aren't doing anymore at the college level, or introduce themselves to something new. We're really focused on personal growth for our athletes. We really see it as a part of their overall academic development, and part of being at a liberal arts college is this sort of holistic approach. So again, these are the types of goals and values that we're trying to stress with your students. Trying to define success as broadly as possible. As you can see, how are they doing in the classroom? What's their community engagement? Are our coaches doing a good job of teaching, as well as, obviously, as I mentioned before, their own personal growth, attention to resilience and well-being. And our coaches here at Williams are faculty members, which I think is significant. They really are teachers and mentors, just in a different classroom. And as I said, we try to be very connected to the academic teaching mission of the college and see ourselves as an extension of that. One of the things that we really hope that happens for our athletes is our coaches, again, imparting their passion. Just like they might be in a chemistry lab with a professor whose area of expertise is in organic chemistry, and they're really excited and sharing about that. Our coaches are experts in their fields as well, and really, again, are hoping that they're going to help their students be excited about it, learn something new about the sport, be stretched in a different way. And in particular, we're focused on building teams. We've also, not only is it a life skill, more and more we're doing collective work, as you know, and that's going to be, again, reflected in the classroom as well. But also we've really seen, especially over, I'd say, the past 5 to 10 years, as student athletes have done more and more individual type sports coming out of high school, whether it's an actual individual sport or showcases or club teams that don't really have that same sort of team building feel that you might have on a high school team or a college team. And so being really intentional about how we're building inclusive spaces, how we're helping students understand that they're part of a whole is a lot of the work that our coaches do. And again, I think it's one of the most valuable things that a student athlete can learn here at Williams. And ultimately, too, we're just trying to care for each other across the campus and within our teams. And these are really good support networks for students. One of the great things about being a student athlete is you come to college with some built-in connections, some people who are looking out for you, some teammates that you know. You're probably used to having, students are used to having teammates in their high school life, and that continues here in a really positive way. We all want what's best for our student athletes and for your children. And again, the purpose, as I said, is to hear from our coaches a little bit about what you might expect, and hopefully we could provide some reassurance to you about what the journey might be like. This really is a period of transition for your students in so many ways, but we're going to focus a little bit on their transition as athletes. And we really want to work together to think about how we help them, how we give them support and help them navigate this new landscape. I'm a mother of 3 who had kids that played throughout their time about 11 different sports, so I know what it took for you to get your children here, for them to have the potential to be part of a varsity college team. I know it's a lot of driving, a lot of water bottles, a lot of laundry, a lot of meals on the road, some nights in the hotel, so I do know what that's like. And one thing I've learned over time, both as a parent of athletes and as a former coach and now an athletic director, is that parents and coaches don't always see the game the same way. They don't always have the same ideas about what strategies should be employed, who should be in what positions. And so that's part of what we're trying to navigate here. I stopped sharing the story for a while, but I'm going to share it again now that my daughter's graduated. That I had this sort of epiphany when I was, I had been a women's soccer coach here for 20 years, and I was out watching my daughter play club soccer, and I'm watching the game. She's not in the game, and I'm watching, the ball in transition. How's the offense? What kind of runs are they making? How's the defense setting? Where are people going off the ball? And then my daughter came into the game, and suddenly she was the only person on the field, and I'm just watching her. And I really, at that moment, I'm like, oh, this is how a parent watches a game, and that's why coaches and parents aren't really watching the same game. But I can assure you that our coaches, really are trying to make decisions that both uphold team values, and also they're trying to win games, and that's really what's going into their thinking. At the same time, so their strategic decisions reflect that balance. But I have great confidence and respect in our coaches that they're at the same time trying to hold your students and take care of them. If you don't know already, you probably know with at least a sample size of one that Williams students are overachievers. Sports for them has been an arena of success. And now for perhaps the first time, it's not going to feel exactly the same. There are a lot of team captains out there, high school team captains, a lot of stars, a lot of people, but they're not all going to have that same exact opportunity when they're here. And so we're trying to think about how you and we together can help them deal with this sort of shifting landscape and realize it's not going to feel exactly the same way. And they might experience something that feels like failure for the first time in their life. And we're trying to redefine that for them in a way that redefines that idea of success, that maybe it's making the team is success for them. Maybe it's just making great friends. Hopefully they're learning a lot about the sport and they're open to that exciting opportunity to learn from some of the best coaches in the country. They're for sure going to make great friends, and that should be a real goal for them as well. And we really try to encourage you and them to not focus on minutes played, where you are on the ladder, your stats versus somebody else. Those kinds of comparisons do not help them feel better. And part of it is they don't want to disappoint you. We've also learned that, right? They think you have certain expectations about what their athletic career is going to look like, and they have those too. And when they fall short a bit, they're looking to you and to us. It's a joint effort, as I said, for support of how do I move through this. And again, them knowing that you're okay with what's happening, if you can accept their role, it really helps them accept it quite a bit too. So we try to say, let our coaches coach. How many of you coached your kids in high school or in a club team? Yeah, so a lot of you have some coaching experience, and they're going to also have great coaches, and it's hard trying to let that go and let these guys coach you, and you get to the good part is you get to just sit back and cheer and be their fans, because there's most likely not another step for them, right? I think we sort of look at it as like they've arrived. This is, they've gotten to this pinnacle, and there's probably, for most of your students, I could be wrong, there's probably not another place they're going to play after this that's a different level. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to our panel. Kevin App is our men's basketball coach, Megan Gillis is our women's ice hockey coach, and Nate Hoey is our women's track and field coach. I'm going to let you guys go ahead.
So 147 minutes. After practicing 2.5 hours a day, 6 days a week for 4 years, 147 minutes. Less than those 2.5 hours I spent practicing daily was how much I played in games in my college career. I was in uniform for 110 games, played in the equivalent of 3.5. Was it worth it? I used to get that question all the time. All right, my engineering friends, friends back home, parents, all right, was it worth it? Many of you might be thinking the same thing. Wow, engineering, you may be good at math. That doesn't sound like good math, all right? I joined my college team November of 2003. For 4 years, got to play game I love with my best friends every day. Got to push myself to grow, to fail, all right, to get better physically, mentally, and athletically. I got to watch my teammates and help them do the same thing. All right, from that experience, I have cherished memories, all right, lifelong friends, forever mentors. I discovered a career, passion for teaching through, all right, the game of basketball, all right, and met all the people that helped me along the way. I learned what leadership looks like, what it doesn't look like, all right, learned how to fulfill any role. I was a walk-on, any role, all right, that they asked me to do to help the team be successful. All right. I learned how to create an environment, all right, to build a championship culture, championship program. I have teammates now that are researchers, lawyers, doctors, teachers, businessmen, entrepreneurs, and they all wish they had my job. But my parents traveled all over the country to places they probably would have never visited, all right, and also found lifelong, all right, friends and relationships along the way. So 147 minutes, that was my personal, statistical, tangible, all right, experience playing college sports. All right, was it worth it? As Lisa mentioned, all right, here at Williams, we are educators. All right, as the basketball staff, what we do, all right, is we pour into the individuals and the relationships on our team. All right, we attempt to take a talented, diverse, and incredibly unique group of young men and create for them a shared set of values and a shared vision to build a team. We help them create a process to improve, set goals, all right, attack those goals, all right, be ambitious with them, and figure out, how to be successful. All right, we hold them accountable if their actions don't align with our vision, with our values. All right, and we help guide them to grow as young men, our young people, all right, and leaders. And we hope if we do all that and do all that well, all right, it'll lead to some memorable, tangible moments. All right, wins and championships, all right, the stuff, with the smiles on the faces, all right, rushing the court. All right. I tell our team, our program, all right, their parents, I can guarantee all of that. I can guarantee the relationships, all right, the values, the learning, the process, all right, to excellence, all right, the leadership development. I can guarantee them all that. I cannot guarantee, I've been doing it long enough to even think I can guarantee, all right, what is going to happen tangibly for the individual and for our team. The statistics, the wins, the losses, that is all unguaranteed. All right, but the rest, all right, I can guarantee them. 147 minutes. All right, if I had focused on that, I would not have had the impactful experience I had. All right, if my parents, all right, I had a note here that actually when I looked it up last week, I was actually surprised it was 147. All right, on the positive side, to be honest. All right, my parents, they would not, if they focused on that, they would not have, all right, the memories, the relationships that they have. They wouldn't have been invited to 4 of my teammates' weddings. All right, they were surprised by every minute. All right, your sons and daughters are starting just an unbelievable experience here at Williams. All right, let them enjoy it. Help them focus on what really matters, all right, the important stuff. All right, don't get caught up in the tangible. All right, again, take it from me, all right, easier said than done, but that is not where the value lies in this experience. All right, this is a special community. We're absolutely thrilled, all right, that your sons and daughters are here, and we can't wait to see the impact they make, all right, on and off the fields and the courts these next 4 years, all right? It's worth every minute. All right, thank you.
All right, as a former All-American NESCAC Rookie of the Year, no, I'm just kidding, but welcome to Williams.
It's worth it.
It's really worth it. No, welcome to Williams, and we're really excited for you to be part of the EAF family. I know for a lot of families, just getting that, knowing that it's the EAFs, that's a big hurdle to jump through, so just make sure you got that. But I think we're really excited to have you here, like Kevin talked about, and you don't have to worry about what showcase you're going to take them to next, what coach are they going to email, oh, is this person going to be there, where do we need to go next weekend, who are we even playing, right? Those days are over. You just get to be here, yeah. For them, it's a chance to fall back in love with their sport, I think. Sometimes they lose a little bit of that in high school. In hockey, you're playing sometimes 12 months a year, and they're playing 85 games, and it doesn't matter if you play Division I, II, III, you're only playing 30 games, right? And so everything becomes more condensed, everything becomes a little more compact, so just let them fall in love with the game again. Like Lisa said, if you're comfortable with their role, they'll be comfortable with it too. And so I think just enjoying that and seeing that like true shift in what it's about to play a sport again is always really fun. And then for me, the last few years with COVID, it's obviously been a different time in college athletics, but what really stood out to me is that things haven't really changed about what's the most important part of playing college athletics. It's growing as a person, becoming a better self-advocate, like developing into a better athlete you ever thought you could be, and then of course like competing, right? And that's competing with yourself, competing with your teammates, competing against other teams. So that part hasn't changed. And that's been really like positive for me to see through all of this. And in my like 12 years at Williams, no one's ever called me about like a reference or a recommendation and said like, well, how much did they play? What was their playing time? How many minutes, right? Like no one's ever asked me that. They want to know like, are they on time? Can they be a leader and a follower? Do they know how to be selfless when things aren't easy for them, right? Like that's what they want to know, and that's what we want to teach them here at Williams, and that's what's really fun about our job every day is getting to work with them. And we care about them a lot, right? Like we want to see them develop, we want to see them grow, we want to see them become better people that are going to go off in the world. And I know you don't want to think about graduation at drop-off, that's kind of wrong. But that's part of like what we're doing, right, is getting them ready for that next phase in their life. And so I have a newborn and a 4-year-old, and my newborn doesn't really have any complaints about me yet, but my 4-year-old, right, like sometimes I'm her favorite person in the world, and sometimes she could like have nothing to do with me, and that would be the best option, right? And same as probably you have with your child sometimes, and like honestly the same as sometimes our players have with us as coaches, right? Like sometimes we just need to find other ways to connect. And so what I was just going to talk to you about is like the resources that we have in addition to the head coaches, the assistant coaches, and their athletic trainers. We have some really elite athletic resources at Williams. As I'm sure you have already heard or will hear today, the academic resources are absolutely unbelievable, and please encourage your son or daughter to use them. But here for us, we have a strength and conditioning coach who's worked with NFL players, he's worked with Olympians, he has a full staff, and so getting to work with them more if that's important, if that's a piece of the game that your son or daughter is struggling with, you have them. If you want to work on, people are always like easy to check, yes, I want to be really strong, but they're not always as interested in the mental part of the game for some reason. But that's a huge component to what we're going to do for the next 4 years. And so we have drop-in hours with integrated well-being services, specific sports psychologists. One of the sports psychologists actually works telehealth with NBA players, so clearly he's working with people at an elite level, so that's an amazing resource for them to use. We have nutritionists that will work with us, make sure we're getting enough fuel that we need. My faculty affiliate is actually a neuroscientist, he's a bioprofessor. Some of the teams have faculty affiliates. That's another great resource for your son or daughter. He actually does presentations. He has like a National Institute of Health grant for like $300 and some thousand about sleep. And so he's given presentations to my team and other teams on the importance of sleep. Because with the Williams perfectionists, that's not something they're like always fond of doing, is getting enough sleep. So there's lots of resources for them to like learn to be elite as an athlete, but also just to become a better person, to grow as a young adult and be more resourceful. So I think as they go through the good times, as they go through the challenging times, these are like the people you can think of. Again, they're the driver of their own bus, right? You're telling them who to go and see, like who and talk to. Oh, I thought I heard this at the opening day meeting that you might have someone for this, right? But they have to be the ones to do it, because when they're going for that first job and asking for that first salary, they're not going to call and say like, hey, can you call my boss and ask me for a little more money, right? Like that's not going to happen. So we need to have them learn how to have those conversations and do that for themselves. And I think the more you can do to just support them and say like, this is really exciting, this is a great time, through the good and the bad, right? Smile while doing hard things. I think that it's going to be an amazing experience for them. I know it was for me, and like Kevin talked about, it was for him. So, the core of who's here to support them for the next 4 years is really big. And so just encouraging them to use all those resources, meet all those people, and I'm excited for all of those who are going to be on my team, but even more so I love watching as well. So getting to see all your student athletes out there for the next 4 years. Welcome, and thank you.
I don't know how I follow those two up. That's fantastic.
You always crush it, come on.
They put the track guy last. I'll try to bring it home here. Also echoing the welcome. This is so exciting, especially it's been so long. It feels really good. This past week, activity on campus is slowly growing and growing, and then seeing everybody moving in today is awesome. And having this, we were just talking, when was the last time we could do this in person? So we're all really, really grateful and excited to get going. You've heard a lot of commonalities already, and you'll see that across the entire department with all of the programs. When I get the chance to talk about the track program, I'm always like, yes, I'm happy to talk about us. A lot of times people on the outside, as they were talking about, will always just look at those outcomes. They will always look at the results. And when you're looking at the outside in at the program, like our team has done quite well in recent years. And we celebrate those, but that is not our defining purpose, right? Like, whatever that end goal is, they're merely a byproduct of this incredibly awesome journey they're about to go on, but an incredibly messy journey as well. And for us, they'll hear me talk all the time. I never want anybody's happiness on the other side of a result. And for students who have spent the last 18 years just trying to accumulate more and more and more, that's a hard transition to have. And the reason I never want their happiness on the other side of result is because if that is their defining moment, as soon as I run this time, as soon as I win this meet, as soon as I get an A in this class, they're like, yes, now I want an A in that class. Yes, now I want to run faster. I want to jump higher. There's always that next thing to chase and to pursue. And I believe firmly if you think, oh, I'll be happy as soon as fill in the blank, they'll actually never get there. And so for us, it is all about finding joy in that journey and the relationships with the incredible people that are around them during that journey. It is not a nice, clean, linear path. It's up, it's down, it's all around. And to have that support network of teammates and all of the resources that are there really enhance the entire aspect of that. And when you do that, two things will happen. It'll actually make that day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month training better, which is going to put you in a better position to achieve those goals you're striving for. And it's going to make it a far more meaningful and joyful pursuit. And that's what we hang our hat on. And I often go, okay, well, how do you do that? I've got a very nice sequence of things to get there, but it can be summed up by person over performance. And don't get me wrong, like, we're going to strive for big things. We all want our teams to be in a position to compete for a conference championship, a regional championship, and a national championship. But we're not going to let that define if it was a successful year or not. You know, if someone runs a certain time or places at a certain meet, I don't want that to be the definition of success. It's just a byproduct of it. And so for us, those results are driven by that day-to-day process, that training. That process is driven by you, the person, the individual, your character. Right? Your character is driven by the relationships you have with the people around you. They can either lift each other up or pull each other down. Hopefully we're all lifting each other up as we go through this, roller coaster ride, right? And those relationships are driven by genuine, true connection. And that connection can't be built without empathy, meeting your teammates where they are, and being there for them. And to be able to meet them where they are, you have to put effort into that. That takes work. And to put that effort in, it starts by simply being present. We're beyond excited for this year coming up, and we've got really big goals. But it's all about simply showing up for each other and being there for each other first. Because if you don't have that, the other pieces won't fall into place. And so that's what person over performance means to me. It means to our program. When we do those things, it enhances the day-to-day. It enhances and just makes it a far more meaningful pursuit to celebrate when it goes really well, but more importantly, to have this army of people around you when you hit those speed bumps that are gonna happen, and everybody's gonna hit speed bumps in different contexts throughout the year. Sport-related, academically, life, and we're all here to help through those. And so, really, I think the big thing is what can you do to help them in this first year, in this transition? Continue being present for them. Just listening to them if they're calling, complaining, oh, coach, how he's making this or that happening. Listening and reminding them to be present there, asking questions, taking advantage of all the tremendous resources that are here that Megan had talked about. And to the students that are here, just welcome. You are about to see how amazing and incredible this place is. And the only thing that I would add on is it's okay to ask for help. Every single person coaches included, are going to have struggles at various levels throughout the year. And there are really good resources here to help. Everybody's having struggles, that's okay. Whether it's a JA, a coach, a captain, a teammate, ask people for help. They're going to help point you in the direction of those resources so that you can continue to be present in this awesome journey that you're going to have. And that's really all I've got. We're excited. I can't wait.
So there, I think you got a pretty good sample of what's on the other side of this meeting for your kids. I'm pretty enthused myself. I wish I had a little eligibility left. See if I could get a few more minutes, but I don't know if anybody will take me, but pretty inspired by these guys. I'm really proud to get to work with them. Just a few things in closing, and actually we have some time for questions at the end, which I had to add on because, again, 2 years we've done this virtually and there was no way to do questions, but we have time today. Just a couple of sort of housekeeping things. Occasionally emails go out from other parents, from the team, saying, hey, here's a team store, you can buy stuff, here we're going to do a tailgate, or here, they're not supposed to ask you for money, but they might. You don't need to do any of that. You don't need to buy anything, you don't have to bring anything, you don't have to donate any money to a parent on the team. The college will also ask you for money. You can send money there. You don't need to send, which is also why we don't want parents asking parents for money. So if you get those are totally optional. You don't need to do that. And we're committed to supporting all of our families. It's on us to provide the necessary equipment for your students to compete and practice. And nutrition is on us as well, not on parents. You already are putting your dime in here, a few dimes. We have a fund to support students on financial aid to help them offset some of the cost of the equipment that we don't cover. We don't provide all equipment, but for those with some financial need, they'll get some information about that, but I just want to let you know if your student is struggling to purchase some necessary equipment and they're on financial aid, they could reach out. They'll hear more about how to do that. We have a pretty robust supplemental meal money when they're on the road, so again, they should be fine. I think some person's like, we need to bring food to the game. I'm like, your kids will be fed whether you bring food or not. So I just don't want you to worry about that stuff or be stressed by getting those emails thinking like, I don't have anything else to give, and, or my gosh, I've got to bake a cake to come to this game. I can barely get to the game. So please don't stress about that. And this year, as always, it's our goal to maintain strong and inclusive teams like I talked about and connections while supporting student athletes' physical and mental well-being. And ideally, we're creating a space where athletes can find joy in their chosen sport, right? People start playing sports, and if you're athletes here, and I know for me, I started playing in the neighborhood and then joining teams because it was just fun. And as Megan said, we're trying to make sure we are connecting our athletes to that fun. So that's a lot of what we're also hoping that we're making space for that while they're working hard and stretching, but they're having fun every day, that hopefully they leave wanting to come back the next day. And we look forward to meeting you at different events. If you can get back to campus, that's great. Most things are streamed online if you can't get back to campus, and you can take a look at that. So again, just looking forward to, we kick off next Tuesday, 2 soccer games down in Cole Field, and we'll be off to the races with competitions and a lot of excitement, and the buzz of having people back, like they said, just bringing energy back is what we've been looking forward to. So welcome again, and thank you for coming, and if people have any questions, you can feel free to, of me or of anybody, feel free to shout them out. Or raise your hand's probably a better idea, though. Yeah, go ahead.
So thanks so much. I appreciate all the sports-specific support groups on campus, but specifically if there's injuries or even minor injuries or some pieces of specific goals, talking back to them. I looked on the website pretty clearly, the health website for sports-specific PT, sports medicine, rehab medicine, and I know there's this taxi program or shuttle program where they'll take them to specialists, but do you have go-to people that know your sport and know the kind of injuries that happen, and is there some sort of a process that they'll be able to be part of?
Yeah, we have a sports medicine department of 7 athletic trainers, and so each team has somebody who's assigned to them, a little bit depending upon the sport, whether they're on the sideline all the time, but every team has somebody that they're individually connected to, that is following them through, that's doing their screenings with them, that they would reach out to for evaluations. They do some of the rehab themselves. Some of the post-surgical rehab happens at Williamstown physical therapists, which is that they know us a lot, we use them a lot. We don't have the ability, depending upon what the load is, to do all of the physical therapy, but certainly minor things we're taking care of, daily check-ins, evaluations. We have a really great sports medicine staff, and again, some local PT that we're connected with if they should need that, the prescription from a doctor. that answer that?
No, that was great.
Other questions, anybody? I was told by the AD Middlebury you should always count to like 30, and then somebody will jump in. I'm always bad. I'm like, okay, see ya. Well, okay, I know you guys have a lot to do. You're saying goodbye to people. You're driving. Did I just miss one? Oh. Thank you, thank you.